You're listening to the SecondTime Watches Podcast with your host, OJ the OG.
Hey everybody, OJ Watley for Second Time, here with my very good friend, former WatchUWant employee, Eric Glass in the house. Give it up, baby. Whoop, whoop, hey. Welcome, Eric Glass. The one thing I have to say before we even get started is you are one sexy motherfucker.
Thanks,
Seriously, you are the sexiest beast I've seen in a long time. A tall drink of water, as they say. Just for background, this man was 400 pounds when he worked at WatchUWant.
Yeah, something like that. I think 390.
Maybe you were like 350.
Yeah,
you were a big boy.
I was big.
You were a big boy. You still had all that energy and everything else.
That's true.
And you were certainly sexy, but you weren't the sexy beast that you are today, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, mega mazel tov, God bless, and dude, holy shit. That's what I have to say. But
Thanks.
Clearly you've worked hard and it fucking shows.
You know what it is when you work in sales, you realize that whatever you want, you go and get it, right? You kill what you eat, right?
Yeah.
So I've kind of taken that same mindset and mantra to how I approached my way of life. I just wanted to be healthier. I just wanted to feel better. And at some point when you get that big, you're just like, shit, like I can't feel this way anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to die. So, so this is just the first half of my journey because on Wednesday, I'm going to have this extra skin I have on my body removed.
Holy moly. That sounds painful.
Probably. But pain is some suffering that you may need to deal with sometimes. And then the next part is I want to be jacked. I really want to be just like when I take off my shirt and I flex, people just like, God damn, that guy works out.
God bless, man. I love it. I love to hear that. I think you look absolutely fantastic.
Thanks.
And congratulations. I'm sure you've worked your balls off, and I'll tell you right now, it definitely shows for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. I say anybody who wants to go down this path, discipline is the key to this, right? The motivation gets you going, but every day you build discipline blocks. Every day you do it. Every day you show up. This is the result. Anybody can do it. I'm not special.
So we'll give you a quick shout out because you definitely have a voice made for podcast.
Thanks.
Right? You do have your own podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
It is called F Your Feelings. You can follow us anywhere that podcasts are found, or you just visit our website, fyourfeelingspod.com.
God bless. All right, Eric, you worked for WatchUWant for how many years?
I don't know, 3 years, I think.
3 solid, in the glory years.
Oh, man, I will tell you it's probably still up there as one of the funnest, best jobs. Is funnest the word? I don't know.
Fuck yeah, man. Fucking funnest is the term.
We had a lot of fun between just being able to work with watches and affluent people and celebrities and we did some cool things in the office and like it was just a fun place to work. The vibe was good. Even when there was fighting in the office, it was like a part of the journey, right? You know, like,
it was entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, the culture that we built at WatchUWant was probably unlike anything I got to experience ever. I will hold it as a place in my heart for a long time. I'm still friends with OJ to this day because I think I just have an affinity for good people who wanted to do good things. And, you know, OJ was a disruptor and innovator in the space, was a cool place to work. I have an interesting story. So when I started working there, it was like, they didn't want to give me the job. I had to fight to get it. Right, so I get the job, and they're like, okay.
Did Shannon hire you?
Shannon did hire me, yeah.
So how did you find out about the job in the first place?
I think there was a Craigslist ad, and I answered it. And I'm like, my dad used to own a chain of jewelry stores, and I'm like, oh, watches, and my dad, and it was like, this could be a really good fit. And then when I interviewed for the job, I interviewed with Tom and Josh and Anthony, of all people, right?
Anthony of West Palm Beach Watch Company.
Yeah, Rinaldi, yeah.
Anthony Rinaldi. And Tom Suter, who's I guess he's still on eBay.
Yeah.
Suter House, that's
Suter
what
House,
it is.
That's correct, right. Yeah. And then I think they really liked my energy that I brought to the interview. And then
what a shock.
Yeah. And then I get the job. I'm excited to have it. And they're like, okay, sit at this computer and just start calling all these people that have been expressed interest in selling a watch. And the first client I ever got was Jay Bush. And I'm like, hey, you wouldn't have to be Jay Bush from Bush Beans. And that is exactly who it was.
God
and that's
bless.
Just like, yeah, I mean, and that is exactly some of the cool things. I mean, I think we worked out a deal with Ronald Perlman. That's the CEO of Revlon. Like, I mean, some cool things. And I know we don't want to talk too much about like work per se, but like there was a time where I found the lady. She found a watch in a storage unit, and inside a jar of like 50 watches was a Paul Newman Daytona, which we ended up selling. I think we sold that watch for like, I think Rinaldi sold it for like $90-something thousand. That watch has got to be six figures. Yeah, it was a beautiful watch. No, I mean, like perfect, pristine.
It was a very nice hit on that watch. She was stoked at the money she got, and we got top dollar. This was like probably 2013, 14 tops, man.
Way more than that.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Overbought. I think a Japanese investor probably bought it. I don't remember. But yeah,
I remember it was like a 2-month situation when we had that watch because we were consigning it for her.
We were consigning it, yeah. But that's just some of the cool things we got to do at WatchUWant. Getting $50,000 wires for a watch, mailing $100,000 watches in the mail, getting fake stuff in the mail, dealing with a bunch of scam artists.
What's your favorite WatchUWant story?
Jeez, I just think it has to be the dealing with Ronald Perlman because we didn't actually get the deal done. He wanted what was it? It was I'm trying to think which Panerai it was. He wanted it for his collection. He's a huge watch guy. I was initially talking to his handler that handles his watch business. And where we lost the deal is he wanted us to eat the credit card fee. This guy's worth billions of dollars. He wanted us to eat the 3%.
The fucking credit cards, man. Oy.
Yeah, and you know as well as I do.
The bane of my existence.
But you know as well as I do that a lot of times the margin in a watch is small. So 3% is a lot.
Yeah, like on a $100,000 watch, you're making $5,000. And if you're taking a credit card, $3,500 of that is eaten up.
And I love that story because like just being able to get on the phone with a guy like that, you know, I think that time he was the 16th richest person on the planet. Yeah, like that's like, to me that's super cool.
Listen, remember we had Larry Ellison buy a Panerai Pam 29 from us on eBay.
Yeah, there are some really
never got
cool,
to talk to him, but at least he bought it from us.
This is true. There's just too many stories to count. I think the good memories were going to OPA and hanging out with everybody, and the culture that we did, like Friday lunches. R.I.P. Esther, who used to
God bless Esther.
I used to pick Esther up every day because she lived in Aventura. I'd pick her up and take her to work. She was like another mom.
Yeah, she was like an older lady who used to work at Cartier at one point.
Esther was awesome. And her son is great, too. I'm friends with Danny. It's a great guy. And same thing with Mark Imberman. Like, there was all these little characters within in the office that kind of made it what it was. Like Mike Michaels in the watch room. And you had Carlos with the internet. And you had Lisa with the camera. And OJ's crazy energy running around like, we got to sell watches. And you got Shane and Crack in the whip. You know, all those things made it a great place to work.
So, you know, you mentioned, like, you sat down your first day and we gave you a list of names to call.
Yeah.
Like, we tried to apply, you know, the whole kind of brokerage model. Like, these were people who bought watches from us in the past. They had a great experience, and yet we haven't sold them any more watches. Why don't you give them a call and see what they're doing?
Yeah, or they've tried to sell a watch. So, you know, yeah, I mean, it was probably my real first forte into real sales. Like, I was in the restaurant business. You're always selling yourself at some point, right? I am definitely Richard Glass's son. My dad was a constant salesman. That's what he did. That's how he lived his life. It wasn't until I got into the WatchUWant that I really, you know, and strangely enough, me and Josh weren't always the best of friends, but I learned so much from Josh Thanos. I won't lie. That he knows sales. That guy is
Josh Thanos of Watchbox 1916, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he is. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. I learned a lot from him.
He's a beast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's a beast. But you know, I mean, when I hear him talk, when I hear him sell, it was like if there was a mirror reflection of O.J. Watley, it was in Josh Thanos, and it was about, you know, let's celebrate watches. We're doing good things, and we deserve to be successful. We deserve to be doing business.
Yeah, he taught me the attitude is everything, right? Right. He firmly believed that was the best price. He firmly believed he was giving you a good deal. Whether he honestly believed it or not, the customer felt that way, and they should feel that way, that they're getting a good deal, that they are dealing with reputable people, and those little things are what kind of, like I said, building blocks.
100%, 100%, absolutely. So, you know, you didn't start as a watch guy. Obviously, you came to work at WatchUWant. Yeah. Tell me, like, what does your watch journey look like as far as, you know, your earliest memories of watches or any kind of, you know, pivotal moments in watches?
So like I said, my dad owned 2 jewelry stores on the west coast of Florida. It was called the Jewelry Store. That was my first venture.
It was like Sarasota or where?
Port Richey, Florida, and Hudson.
Port Richey, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And watching him every day talk to customers, I guess that's kind of where it started. But I just remember, like, the Seiko watch, right? Because he didn't deal in luxury watches, but like a Grand Seiko he did sell. He had a watch that had a TV on it. Now we're going back to the mid '80s, right? So imagine that was cool. That was cool tech, a little TV on your wrist. And I mean, I wasn't so much into watches. My dad was. My dad was into jewelry and watches. He was the guy that wore the gold chain and the gold bracelet, and he had the Porsche Courage. I'm wearing his high just to give you an idea.
Oh, shalom.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how.
Damn, look at that thing, man.
Right,
Woo!
This is not
That's like a Mr. T edition.
This is not my personality. My dad designed it. He wore it until the day he died, and now I wear it. So
that's fantastic.
So that's kind of where my watch journey starts. But I was never really into jewelry. I was kind of like, I'm a vibe guy, right? I'm into just good vibes and things like that. So what I liked about WatchUWant is like, it gave me a connection with my dad because my dad was into that space, and my dad was super excited when I got the job, and I was sending all these pictures. I'm like, Dad, check out this RM. Dad, check out this Rolex. Dad, check. And I was sending pictures, and he's like, this shit is so cool. And that to me was super cool. And when they asked me about watches, I thought Breitling was considered like a really nice watch. Little I know, it is a nice watch, but it's not like the Pateks of the world, or even Geneva Seal, or learning like little things like that. Well, what makes a Roger Dubuis different than a Rolex, and why is Rolex considered good but not the best? Like those things are the things. So I started learning about what made watches really cool for me is that you didn't have to appreciate watches for the mechanicalism of them. Now people are watch freaks that are into the mechanism and the mechanical workings of a watch. But you can love the watch for the artness of it, like Gerald Genta and how he designed it, and how inspiration is in Hublot and other watches. And like for me, what I like about Panerai is its simplistic form. The fact that it's got where the design comes in is that sandwich style, right? Those little intricacies,
that multi-layered dial, that stencil cut out, and you could just feel the layers.
Yeah,
you could feel that creaminess of the lume. Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because, you know, in retrospect, when we talk about WatchUWant, you know, from the period of 2010 to 2015, if you were to look at our product mix, right, if you were to consider the watches that you sold during your time at WatchUWant, like what percentage of those watches were Rolex, you think?
It was a pretty good portion, but we had a pretty good mix.
But we had the other fringe brands, right? We had the Gentas and the Roger Dubuis, and we had the Pierre Kuntz insanity that came with
Roth.
The straight jacket, right? Daniel Roth.
Yeah.
I would say probably overall from 2010 to 2015, our Rolex mix wasn't more than about 20% of the watches we were selling.
It depended because the margin in Rolex is small. People want it, right? You can sell, but I mean, you're not making a ton of money on it.
Yeah.
Whether it's me as a salesperson or you as the owner, we're talking about tiny, but you got to carry it because everybody wants it. But that's funny that you say it because now, like, I remember we bought Batmans for like $5,000, $5,000. For a Batman, which sells for like 15 grand. Now it's bonkers.
The watch retailed for like $7,000, $7,700 or something like that. This is going back 2012, 2011, 12. It's crazy.
And a shout out to Tom, because I think part of the reason we had such a diverse mix is Tom's still to this day, if you go to Suter House and look at the watches he collects.
They're totally random.
It's very
totally random. Micro brands before micro brands were something.
He likes unique looking watches. So I think that also
and Tom Suter was our sales manager. He was our eBay sales manager. Yeah. And the other thing that I think about when we talk about these watches, it's like the average Rolex buyer was significantly different than the rest of our customers. Which were, like I said, Pierre Kuntz, Frank Mueller, Panerai. It was like I said, they were deeper. Yeah. They were deeper. They weren't about, if they were buying a Rolex, it was usually a sport Rolex. Yeah. It wasn't a day. We only had a handful of those, right? But they were sport models, and usually the bigger, the better.
Yeah.
Right? But like the bigger business came from the guys that didn't buy Rolexes because they were all over the map. They were always just wanted something cool and different. And they were like, the hardcore drug users are always needed a fix.
Yeah, Sergio's that guy. I remember him. He lives in Mexico. He's got a place out in Oregon. Hopefully Sergio catches your stuff. But he came and visited us. He brought me a bottle of tequila. I picked him up at the airport. Same thing. He's into like Bell & Ross, and he's into like Rolex, and he likes all those watches, but it's not just, he doesn't pigeonhole himself like, well, this is what everybody's wearing.
Yeah.
He's like, that's he's just like, hey, that's fucking cool.
Like Vacheron was fringe. That wasn't a mainstream brand, at WatchUWant, but yeah, we sold a lot of Vacheron overseas and things like that.
I think if you want to wear a nice watch and you don't want people, like you walk down the street with a Rolex, you're a target. But if you're wearing a Vacheron, most people don't know what it is.
Right, or a Jaeger Master compressor, or, stuff like that. Like I said, usually it had a sport vibe and it was more oversized than smaller.
Yeah, and now they're even bigger.
Yeah, for sure. So do you own any watches now?
I don't. I you know what it is like, I think I started getting in my own head. Like OJ is kind enough to let me wear this beautiful 10-day Panerai, and I do
Pan
love
533 available exclusively at secondtime.com.
I do love it. I love the weight of the watch, but I'm a whenever I did wear a watch, I'm the guy that smashes crystals,
right?
Because I'm not a small person, and I walk through a doorway and I'm always clipping the
doorknobs,
I'm doorknobs and things like that. And after a while, I'm like. Wendy was like, for my 50th birthday, she's like, do you want me to buy you a watch? And I'm like, I'm not gonna wear it. I'm like, I know it's just gonna sit in my box, and I'm not gonna wear it. Like I have some of my dad's old watches. I don't even wear those. I'm just not that person. Like I wear this only because it's my dad's, and it brings me peace and brings me closer to him. If he was still alive, he'd be wearing it, and I wouldn't be wearing anything. But that's just my personality, right? But I still have a fond appreciation for looking at someone wearing a nice watch because, watches are so deep on so many levels. Like a CEO is going to wear it because look at my dick, it's bigger than yours, right? I'm wearing a $100,000 watch, and you're just wearing a dinky little $50,000 watch. Ha ha ha! I'm bigger and better than you, right? Some people wear it for that. Some people wear it because it's cool and it matches their outfit. Some people wear it because they get like all the little cool intricacies in it. Someone like Tim Masso wears a watch because he thinks everything about the watch is cool, like everything. He knows no one knows more about watches from anybody I've met than Tim Masso. Okay. That guy is a watch savant.
Beast.
Yeah.
Beast. Yeah, he's a watch savant. But watch savant is not giving him enough credit, man. He is a beast.
Yeah. He's a walking encyclopedia of all things watches. If I ever had a question, I just sent Tim an email.
Oh, he was the best. Or you put him on with your customers. Remember, we used to put him on with our customers. And it was just like, we weren't selling. He would just talk about that watch. And then he'd hand the phone to us and say, okay, all right, we're good.
That goes back to the collection of people that you curated, right? Almost like your watch collection.
Yeah.
WatchUWant was a curation of people of all different kinds that just kind of worked together to create something great. One of my biggest regrets is not moving to Philadelphia and being part of Watchbox. I think I was already on a good trajectory.
Yeah.
I would have crushed it there. And you see, Josh doesn't live in Philly anymore.
Right.
He came home.
Right.
So, there would have been...
But he did put his dues in. He did spend 2 years there.
Yeah, whatever. What's 2 years?
Yeah, so for those who don't know the story, right? When we sold WatchUWant in December 2015, the plan was to consolidate all of the pre-owned watches to South Florida. That included buying a building.
Yeah.
Remember the building in Hollywood?
Mm-hmm.
It was like a multi-million-dollar building. There were plans to renovate it, redesign it, And then a year and a half into that, they pulled the plug and moved everybody to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think what they realized is Govberg was building this huge facility. Well, why would we want to build another one? And they probably also realized the challenges that come with building a facility like that. Like, we're doing it now. We want to do it again. So I don't know all the stories, but whatever. Life is funny the way it goes. I don't live my life with regrets. I live my life going, man, I lived a cool life and happy for those who excelled and exceeded in other things. I'm not doing terrible for myself. I just think I would have enjoyed the space. Yeah. I would, and I think I would have done very well. Anything I do, put my mind to, I do well at it. So that's all. I think I missed that.
It was, look, I didn't move to Philadelphia, obviously. It's a big leap to move to Philadelphia,
I was just married. My wife's parents are here. It was
your wife had a growing business. And you guys had just bought a place across from
we hadn't
Outdoor World.
Yeah, we hadn't bought a place there. We were living there, but we live in Boca now. But I would have, like I said, I wouldn't change my life for where it is. I love who I'm married to. I love my life. I love where I live and all the things that come with it. I don't look at others and go, man, I wish I had that. Is it nice to want more? Sure, of course. I'm just not that person.
Yeah, God bless, man. God bless. Do you remember, we had core values at WatchUWant?
We did, yeah.
You remember the core values?
I don't, but I know we had core values. I know they were on the wall.
They were on the wall, right? It started with passion drives who we are and what we do. I remember that one.
But that's literally it. I think the customers felt it too, right? I think that was what made us so successful. I think that's also what drove Watchbox or Govberg to us initially. Yeah. And just like I said, it's just the whole thing.
Well, you remember, so one of the bedrocks of Watchbox 1916. It's all about customer relationship. It's what they call that lifetime customer value. LCV.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I just call it taking good care of your customers.
Right.
So that they come back, so that they refer you. And we tracked everything. So like we could pull up a customer name and we could see all the watches they sold us,
Yep.
whether they sold them to us outright, whether we sold them on consignment, whether we took them in trade,
How much we paid
what
for
we
it.
paid for them,
Yeah.
what we sold them for, what we sold the next watch for, what we cost on that one for. We had everything, and it was all dialed in thanks to Carlos.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you remember what our system was called? It was called the DMS.
The DMS. That's right. The dealer management system.
Yeah. And so to this day, they still call it at Watchbox 1916. They call it the DMS.
It got better. I mean, it was a
The
cool
deal
thing because like, I
management
can be
system.
talking to somebody. I can just type in Rolex, GMT, or whatever, put in the reference number, and like it would show like all the watches over a
the
period
watches
of time.
that we bought, what we paid for them, what we sold for them, how long we carried them for.
Yeah.
Dude, we were so dialed in.
I think,
I talk about business intelligence because that's what you call it now.
Yeah.
Back then, we just called it having a good system.
That was a big key because it's one thing to do research and look up what things are being sold for. It's another thing to look and see what we actually paid and sold it for,
Yeah.
and like quickly.
Yeah, and it's another thing to just look at one side of the equation, all the watches that we bought from this guy.
Yeah.
Or all the watches that we sold to this guy. But the relationship and toto, right? And being able to look at the profit margins on each deal, and you're like, how come we're not doing more business with this guy?
Right. It's easy to pinpoint.
You
Like
know?
these 10 guys are what we would call whales.
Yeah,
right? But
100%.
Not so much because we're making so much money on them, because they do a lot of business with
Yes,
us, which makes us
100%.
money, right?
And then referrals were our lifeblood, man. I love the referral systems that we had,
Yeah, it was a good time. And then you started this. And anybody who's thinking about buying a watch should not have to question who you are, who they're buying it from, the quality, the consistency, because like you said, passion, customer experience is all about what you are.
100%.
So if you're thinking about buying a watch, you found the right place. And I would say, look, and buying a watch isn't always about the best price. And what I mean by that is because you can get a watch, you get what you pay for. But when you buy a watch from OJ, you don't just buy the watch, you get OJ, literally for life. Like, he ain't going away. He's going to be there.
I'm a cell phone and text away 24/7, baby.
Yeah. So
I do my best deals after 2 a.m.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But it's just that's just the way it goes, right? I think who you are, the infectiousness of who you are, that's why I'm here. It's why I still talk to you. It's why I still have friends of people who were part of WatchUWant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all part of that ecosystem, and I'm certainly proud at what we,
I still have
what we
WatchUWant
built,
shirts. Yeah,
and the legacy of the people that are still out there just freaking killing it. I mean, Federico loves watches, baby. Federico's killing it. He's doing great.
You got Chris. You got
Anthony Rinaldi.
Yeah, West Palm Beach.
Watch Co.
Sean Sullivan.
Well, how about you remember Ashley Gegelman?
Yes.
So Ashley's sister Lexi, you remember her?
I don't
she
remember.
She worked with us for summer. She works with Time Passion, Sam Salem, who's one of the largest gray market guys, for 10 years.
You know what I realized is specifically, so watches is very niche. It doesn't seem like, because you would think that watches aren't niche, but like luxury watches are very niche. So if you are in that space, or you need someone, trying to find someone that actually knows what they're talking about, that can talk passionately about watches. Look, I'm not in the watch space anymore, but I have customers that I'll refer them. I'll refer them to people all the time. But like, it really becomes down to, if I needed a job in the watch space, I think I could easily go get one.
Of course you could.
Right, because
I'll hire you.
There you go. When do I start? But yeah, I think finding someone in that space, if you find someone that's got passion and can talk passionately about that product and the little intricacies about it, that sets you apart in a space where it's, there's not many people that can talk passionately about someone like that.
100%, man. It was a fun time. And I remember our Friday lunches, right? You remember, like, there were times we'd have a Friday, and one time we'd pull one employee up and everyone had to say, like, a nice thing about that employee.
Oh yeah, we did. We did like watch and learns. We did
lunch and learns. They were watch and learn. Yeah,
we did.
We did game shows.
We did a thing where we had competition where, because Esther got tired of planning lunch every week. She's like, "Oh, you think this is easy? You do it." And OJ's like, "You're right. Let them do it."
No, I was planning the entertainment. She was planning the food.
But she got tired of that, so she made us do it. And then every week,
we would appoint a different employee to run the meeting.
Yeah, it was a good thing. Once again, the culture was amazing.
It's funny. It's the C word, and you don't ever hear the word culture when you hear about other watch companies, I mean, do you think Watchbox talks about the culture of Watchbox? Now, we got the best watches, we got the most watches, we got Tim Masso, watch our podcast, watch our videos. But what are the core values? What's the culture? You know,
I have no idea.
At Second Time, you know, our number one core value is transparency, man. What you see is what you get. Authentic relationships, authentic experiences, no hassles and no surprises. Right? Because watches are supposed to be fun. They're a celebration. And as soon as you know, you kind of create this and you know, this us versus them kind of thing, it kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like you know, you could tell somebody. I remember like when you're buying watches and selling watches, I think the attitude of how you look at watches can change. But like I've always had an appreciation for like, I'll give you an example. There's a Rolling Stone watch. Oh, geez.
Oh, the Zenith one.
Yeah. When
of course.
It's got the Rolling Stone logo.
Yeah, it's got the tongue on the dial and leather strap.
I just think it's super cool. And I love Jacob & Co. watches. MBMF watches. Now, granted, MBMF is kind of more like boutique-y, super rare type watch. But like, just the coolness of the watch. It's like, I would go, hey, Tom, I got a guy with a Jacob & Co. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, it's just like, we don't want it. We don't want it. How much did he pay for it? Oh, Jesus. You know, because he's going to want, you know, guy paid, 50, 60 grand for him, or we want to pay like 5. You know, it's just like, that's the unfortunate thing with some watch brands. Like, if you're going to buy it because it's super cool, I mean, you got to love that watch because you may not get the return back. It's not a Rolex or a Patek.
You remember what we did when a guy wanted to sell us his watch and we couldn't agree on the price?
We put him in consignment. We had a really crazy price so we could see that you ain't getting it.
We would let the market speak for the watch, right? Okay, you want 50,000? We'll market at 55.
I mean, that's a good model to have. I'm like, look, we don't want to necessarily sit on your watch for a long time, but what's our real investment? We paid to have it shipped here. Okay, now it's here. So let's see if we can get you $75,000 for your watch that we think is worth 20.
Because as long as we can make a couple $1,000s, we'll work with you.
What do we care? It doesn't cost us anything to put it up there. But at the same time, it's like, we want you to understand if we're going to do this, that we're going to come like in a month from now when we realize that we're either getting no offers, we're going to come down on that price. Because if we can't come to that agreement, we might as well just keep it.
Right. And you remember how our consignment worked that differentiated us from everyone else's consignment? Like the number one thing that was different from everyone else charged percentages, right? You remember what we did?
Was it based on the sale of the watch, right?
It was based on the minimum net number, right? If I could write you a check today for this watch,
right.
What would that number look like? And that's where we'd start. And if it didn't work, then we'd lower the price. But it was always on a collaborative basis. There was never any surprises. And it wasn't percentages, because talk is usually percentages.
Yeah, there wasn't any hidden fees.
You know how much I'm selling the watch for, you know? Like, it was always minimum net number to the client.
Right. You won't make less than this. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Minimum net number to the client. That was it.
But, enough about watches, OJ. You were just in fucking Japan.
Yeah,
I want to hear about Japan.
2 weeks in Japan. It was pretty awesome. It's like another planet.
How long is that flight?
So we flew to Dallas. That was 3.5 hours.
Okay.
And then Dallas to Tokyo is 13.5. And then, but the cool thing about it is on the way home, because of the tailwinds, Tokyo to Dallas is only 10.5.
Wow, 3 hours?
So that was pretty cool.
That's a huge gap.
3 hours for tailwinds. Yeah, but it was a great time. I love it. Can't wait to go back. I feel like I need to go back because you go to there the first time and everything is like, wow, you're just so, like overwhelmed and bewildered and shocked. And, you just, like with each day, you get a little more comfortable navigating the subways, the buses, the trains, getting on the bullet train. And then you're gone. You're off to another, So we started in Tokyo, and from there we went to Kyoto. From Kyoto, we went to Hakone, which is where they have those onsens, those little private spas. That was amazing. Just pure R&R relaxation. And then from there, we went to Osaka. And then from Osaka back to Tokyo, where we flew out of. But it was spectacular. Had such a great time. And let me tell you something. If you're going to Japan, go in October, because the weather was spectacular. It was like 55 degrees.
Nice.
It was awesome. And just 2 months ago, it was hot and humid and sticky.
So October is the time to go.
October is the freaking time to go, and less crowds than the summer, of course.
Of course. And did you eat anything specific while you were there that you'd never tried before, and you're like, something that was unique and different?
Oh, man, the sea urchin unagi was pretty trippy. I had some kind of sable fish. You know, you don't know what the heck you're eating most of the time. You know, I mean, I have pictures of crazy stuff, and you know, I don't know what I ate. I went on food tours, and if it was on a plate, I ate it. You know what I mean? And that's it. I did have one of my favorite meals was an Okinawa restaurant where they serve this like rice with Spam. Oh. And it was fucking great.
Yeah, that's big in Hawaii too, the rice and the Spam.
Man, I'm a Spam fan, let me tell you. And the food markets, the Nishiki food market in Kyoto and the Tsukiji food market in Tokyo were awesome. 7-Eleven? Dude, I had an egg salad sandwich every day from 7-Eleven. And sometimes the egg salad sandwiches were sold out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The 7-Eleven in Japan is a whole nother experience. It's nothing like it is here.
It's not 7-Eleven. It's just something different.
It's a separate corporation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Of course. So tell me something. Give me your craziest watch story.
I think it has to be Jay Bush. Just because, so the relationship kind of starts with me calling him like a cold call. Like, hey, it's Eric Glass from WatchUWant. I called him like 5 times, I don't get anything. Finally, I get a phone call back, and that's when I ask him about, because it's like Bush Brothers is like his email. I'm like, oh wait, you're Jay Bush from like Bush Beans. He's like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And
that's the commercial with the guy with the dog, right?
Yeah, Jay Bush. So he goes, look, I'm gonna send you a bunch of watches that need to get fixed. I don't buy anything. He goes, he sends us watches, and we start repairing some watches for him.
No kidding.
And then while he has those watches, he says, well, I'll sell you this one. And so that's how my relationship started with him. And he was such a prickly little bastard. And not in a bad way. Like, I'm like, hey, because I did a lot of deals with him. I'm like, and he always wanted a deal, always wanted it, which is fine, right? I get that.
Sure.
But I remember asking him, can you send me some beans? No. I'm like, send me some beans. I mean, it can't cost you anything. I'm like, just send me some beans. Like, can you autograph a can? Like, I always joke with him. Can you autograph a can and send me a can? He was a nice guy, but he was all about business. I remember him telling me that his son was working with Jack White from the White Stripes. They just got elected. They're just in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way.
Oh,
the White Stripes has got into the.
So you know, it's funny because you mentioned how the relationship started with Jay Bush. He sent us his watches.
Oh my God, I actually forgot. There's actually a crazier story than that.
Okay then, fantastic. Give it to us.
And it comes in 2 parts.
Fantastic.
So the first one is there's a gentleman that has all these watches, and he lives in New York. And I convinced Shannon to fly me and Peter Bell to New York.
I remember this story.
We fly to New York.
Totally remember.
And we met this guy in Long Island. Me and Peter had to take the train out to Long Island to this guy's house. And this guy's got like 100 watt, no boxes, just on a table. He lives in this mansion in the middle of nowhere. And the guy is like, you know, like how cable works with your box and how your cable box makes all this cool stuff on the TV so you can navigate it. He created that. So he's loaded, and he's got this compound, and we're there at his house, and we're eating, and we're drinking, and he's got this crazy music set up, like this like crazy $1 million hi-fi setup,
like an Elliott type.
Exactly. He's got reel to reel. We're listening to like
bending wave Elliott.
Yeah. We're listening to music on reel to reel.
And right, on $100,000 speakers and $250,000 preamplifier, $102,000 amplifier.
Yeah. We're drinking whiskey, and we're hanging out, and he's got all these watches. And we come back with like this bag of like 50 watches, and I'm like, and they're just beat up. Right, so now Michael's just got to go through all of them. He's like, oh, this one needs this, and this one needs that, and this one's okay, and this one. But I go back. This is like a year or 2 later, and I fly with Tim Masso back. Now that's a whole other experience with Tim. Tim is a very unique individual. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I love Tim to death, but like he's just. If you know Tim, you know he's a very specific person.
Yes, he's a little rigid.
Maybe a little bit. I know what it is, but it's kind of like that's who he is, right?
Yeah.
So I have appreciation. So now me and Tim we're going out to his new place, this new huge compound that he's got gated in. He's Russian, this guy, and he's got. So now he's like Eric, and like our deal that we had come to kind of starts to fall apart while we're there in New York. I'm like, oh Jesus, how am I gonna explain this? Like I got to come back with something. And he's like, I'm breaking up with my girlfriend. I got to get all this. He starts going through his closet, and he's pulling out guns, and he's handing them to Tim. Here, hold this. It's loaded. And he's like, AR-15. Tim's like holding his weapon, shotgun. He's like, I gotta hide this stuff. And he's like, I'm like, you have to give me something to bring back. It's like I just can't. And I just remember the look on Tim's face with when he's pulling out the weapons. That to me is the craziest story. I think Tim went home the next day. I stayed in town for a day or 2 before I flew back. But like, That's a crazy story. I have another one where I flew to Texas. I flew to Texas, picked up a bunch of watches and came home, but like nothing like that.
Was that Doug Mond? Who did you fly to Texas to see?
What was that guy's name? I drove to his office. He shipped all the boxes, but I took all the watches with me. I think I set the record for watch purchases that month.
I do remember.
It was like 60-something watches. So 40 of them were from him. Something crazy like that.
God bless, man.
Good times. Jeez, I haven't thought about that. The guns. How do I forget him pulling out the guns? And like, here, hold this. Be careful, it's loaded. And the look on Tim's face. And meanwhile, Tim's like, he's just really interested in looking at the watches. He just wants to look at the watches. This guy's pulling out weapons. Heidi's for my girlfriend. I'm breaking up with her.
That's too funny. So you're no longer in the watch business. You said you don't have any watches currently.
Right.
But if you could have a watch, we'll call it a grail or an aspirational watch. What would that look like?
So let's build a watch collection, right? Let's call it 5 watches, right?
Okay, the 5 watch collection. Let's go with 3. We don't have that much time.
We have watches for different occasions. So I'd have to start with what my favorite watch is of all time, and that's probably because of Arnold. Arnold's AP.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, I love Arnold.
I'll be back, Arnold.
I'm a member of Arnold's Pump Club. I'm going to pump you up. It's going to be the AP Royal Oak chronograph with the blue dial. That's probably my...
Not the offshore or the Royal Oak?
I like the offshore, but the offshore is so thick, where at least the regular Royal Oak is thinner, right? So
sure.
It's a sport watch, but yet it dresses up nicely.
Sure.
So it could do double duty.
Okay.
I think I'm also going to have to put in there like either an IWC Big Pilot.
Love
Even there's a plain one with a black dial, or
love the Big Pilot,
or maybe something like just the regular Top Gun. Not the Big Pilot, just the regular Top Gun.
Like a Top Gun chronograph?
Yeah.
I love the Top Gun chronograph. We had a lot of those. That ceramic case is awesome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful watch.
Love the Top
it's
Gun.
sporty. It's sporty. I mean, you got to throw a Rolex in there. So, I mean, I guess if I'm going to wear a Rolex, it's going to have to be a platinum day date.
There you go.
I say platinum
Shoot
only
for the stars, baby.
Only because, like, if you're going to wear a watch like that, I'd rather them think that it's stainless steel versus something like gold. If you wear something flashy like
so what kind of
gold,
dial? What's your preferred dial? You think the ice blue, the Arctic blue?
I do like the Arctic blue.
Yeah, I like that.
And if I wasn't going to go platinum with the Arctic blue, I would go rose gold with the green dial.
Yeah, rose gold green is awesome too.
Something along those lines. Those would be my top 3. Maybe if you throw a 4th one there, maybe a bronzo.
Yeah, I would have. Well, I would hope there'd be a Panerai in the mix.
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, remember where you came from, bitch. Remember where you came from. Do you have anything else you'd like to say or share with us about your time at WatchUWant?
No, I loved my time at WatchUWant. I wish that I regret the way it ended. Meaning, like the way it ended was kind of like
abrupt. Right? It was like, well, it was like coitus interruptus. Like we were, and it was like we're buying a building, we're renovating a building, and then it was like, okay, by the end of the year, we're out. We're moving to Philadelphia.
Yeah, it wasn't even like that. It was like you came to work one day and they're like, okay, we have to talk to everybody. And like, okay, either you're moving to Philadelphia or you don't have a job anymore. And I'm like, and I panic. And I'm like, shit, Chris had already left Stefano and he was working with Rinaldi. So I go and visit them and I butt dial Josh. Of all people. This is why me and Josh weren't friendly. And now I record the conversation. The conversation's recorded. I could hear it myself. I go back and listen to it. But he plays it for Shannon and he plays it for what's her face? Amanda. And then they play this game where they call me back and they're like Eric, we want you to come. We want you to do video for us because I was just starting to do video with Tim and Federico. And that's like, as you see, it's my jam. Like I'm all cool in front of the camera. I'm like, okay.
A voice made for podcasting, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and a face
made a golden voice.
And a face made for radio. But when I got to the office, Carlos was like, "Oh, come sit in here," and it was like a ploy, like to get me to like, "Oh, so you went to see Chris?" And they start. It was like I was in an interrogation all of a sudden, and I was just like, and then I got upset, and I wanted more than the money they wanted to give me to leave, and that kind of I ended up not getting anything when I left, which is fine, whatever, it is what it is. I'm just saying at that time, I wish things could have ended better.
No, there was some, yeah,
that's all. That's how. Yeah.
Do you remember? Amanda, our CEO coach, our business coach? She was the one who came up with this concept of a culture-driven organization.
But think about it.
And core values.
She leveraged something she saw greatness in.
Yeah.
She was able to leverage that into helping with the Watchbox deal coming in the first place.
And then became the global CEO for a period of time.
And she made out like a bandit. And from something that you really have to have vision, right? Because how do you see that? Because you're talking 5 years at least a minimum of 5 years before that ever comes to fruition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
just a coach at that point, right?
Yeah.
You guys remember sitting in the meeting in the conference room?
She started as my CEO coach and then became like a business coach. She would coach each of our employees sometimes. We would do all kinds of group like experiences and things like that. It was fun. Dude, I am so happy that you could join us today. I'm so fucking proud of you and the way you look.
Thank you.
Man, you've transformed.
Yeah. I look forward to doing more,
just amazing.
More stuff, letting people know about my journey. You can, like I said, you can follow us on fyourfeelings.pod.com or follow us on YouTube. So on my last episode, I take my shirt off and kind of show what I'm going to be doing. So during the surgery, I'll have video of all the markings afterwards, all the scars. I'm going to look like
all the Sharpies.
Yeah, I'm going to look like
You're going to get all the Sharpies. Nice.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best of drugs.
Thank you. I'm going to need that next week.
And I know you'll do great, man. God bless.
OJ.
But
This
really.
has been a lot of fun. I like Wise OJ. I think whatever you put your mind to, you went from winning Wheel of Fortune to creating a disruptor in the watch space to being a podcaster to all the things you're, two amazing kids. So this is just the next great thing in the OJ Watley arsenal. So if you're not following along, man, get on board. That's all I got to say.
I love that, man. Music to my ears. And again, thank you for being here,
Right
Eric
on.
Glass.